Good afternoon and welcome to the Don't Blink Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. And I am your host, Israel Vasquez, and we're back. We're back. It's a new year and we're back with MMA. Not only the UFC, but also we have a big event coming up, Pro FC 4 in Orange Walk. Local MMA, if you want to call it that, but we call it the Belizean Amateur Series. And today, Orin, unfortunately, we don't have our other podcast partner, Dylan, but we have a special guest, Mr. Silvino Riverol, who is my partner in Pro FC, and he's also the president of Pro FC, along with Ralph Pulse, who's also our third partner. So let's give him a welcome, and Silvino, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for the invite. Appreciate it. Good night.
Yes, and it's good to be here as always. Even though Dylan is losing interest in MMA, right? Those of you who are regular viewers, we gotta reach out to Dylan. Something's happening. That's unusual, right?
Right. I think it's a case of where you go through a phase where you watch too much UFC and you need a break, right? So we'll give him a little break and see when he's ready to come back. I don't know about you, but too much MMA is never a thing for me. I can have a lot of UFC, and I know Silvino also is a big, MMA fan, UFC fan, and of course that's one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing here in Belize, right, Silvino?
Definitely. Never get enough of MMA. Always ready to swallow the MMA pill every day, every night.
All right, I want to start talking a little bit about the Pro FC 4 card that is happening in Orange Walk. That is this coming Saturday, January 29th. And it's a special event for us because for the first time ever, this is our fourth event, but it's the first time we are doing a card where it's basically all Belizean fighters. I don't think that that's been done here in Belize before, because there have been other events, but there have always been with Mexican fighters fighting the Belizean fighters, Guatemalan fighters fighting the Belizean fighters. But this, for the first time, this is what we call a Belizean Amateur Series, where we're debuting a lot of young guys, right? A lot of young guys are upcoming, and they're looking to make their name in Pro FC and MMA as a whole.
Yeah, sounds good. And I do suppose that's partly because of the current pandemic situation, right? But besides that, I think it's a very good thing to have a card showcasing only Belizean talent.
Right, and that was it's a brainchild of Silvino, and he can talk a little bit more about that. But of course, the idea behind it is that we want to get new fighters interested and involved in the sport of MMA, right, Silvino?
Yes, definitely. The pandemic was unfortunately hit all of us, no, for almost 2 years now. But in the meantime, we were able to start developing our own local fighters. All the clubs around Belize. So, like what Israel said, this is the first of its kind, having only local Belizean fighters in a full MMA event. So it's history in the making, and as Israel can attest, we at Pro FC always want to be the first to do history. We had the first professional fight last year, and now we're going to have the first ever fully professional. Amateur Belize full card, in MMA.
All right, sounds good. So tell the Belizean public exactly all the particulars, when and where, how much.
Okay, well, the fights are going to be held next week, Saturday, the 29th of January, in Orange Walk Town at the Orange Walk Multi-Purpose Complex. The fights start at 3 p.m. And then the entrance is $25 for general or $50 VIP. And at the moment, the VIPs are really selling out. So we're asking the public, if you want a VIP seat, to contact us through the social media pages, or you can even WhatsApp 670-0716 to reserve your seat, because you want to be there up close to the cage to see the excitement live and up close. It's nothing like being there next to the cage. It's worth the $50. It's money well spent, because the fights are going to be exciting, high level, and I'm telling you, our guys are going to give it all. So, and they're excited because it's been 2 years. No fight, so some of them are coming so hungry, and they want to show the crowd that they're into it. So we're excited as promoters, and as coaches, we're excited to meet the fighters as well.
Yeah, and Orin, I can tell you that for me, it's a different experience being kid side than watching it on TV, right? I have I realized that when we started doing our events, being kid side gives you a lot of more that adrenaline, dump, and you're hyped up and you're right beside the cage. sometimes I'm supposed to be a commentator. Sometimes I can't even commentate because I'm so hyped up and excited. So it's a different experience, right, when you're live. So we're hoping that people come out and enjoy that experience.
And for those of you who haven't experienced one live, I have actually experienced one 3 years ago. Back in January 2019, you guys had held one at the Civic Center in Belize City. It was a great event.
Right. That was one of the first events that I helped promote. Silvino was involved then that I helped promote. But then right after that is when we started Pro FC, and then we started with the first Pro FC in Orange Walk. Second was in San Pedro. The third was in Orange Walk. Then the pandemic, happened. But now we are restarting, and I think this is as good as an event as ever, right, Silvino?
That's right, that's right. And if you've been to a Pro FC event, you will know that we make it into an event, which means you have loud music, lights, smoke, the pretty colors. It's an atmosphere. People that have been to our events has been, I feel like I'm in Vegas, which is true. We try to make the atmosphere, like an event, so you don't forget it and you want to come back next time, So we're really excited about doing another big event. It's going to be a big event because we're going to have 50% capacity, which is really good for us. And we're going to have everything, the music, the lights, full show, everything. And also, we're going to be having drinks on sale now, since we already got our approval to have drinks on sale. So if you're coming, come with your empty palate and thirsty, and you're going to have a fun time watching the fights and drinking your nice cool beers.
All right. So beside the event being a spectacle and a good time, tell us about the main event. Who are the fighters in the main event, and why should the general Belizean public be interested in seeing them?
Yes, the main event actually is one of the most exciting fights on the card, because you have two veterans, and this is to determine who is the baddest 145-pound MMA fighter in Belize. Because you have Lambi, who already has a win over our current champion, Jonathan Chutan from Guatemala, and you have Mac, who actually went to Guatemala and took off the belt from one of the fighters in Guatemala. So Mac is a champion in Guatemala. Lambi already beat our champion, who is from Guatemala. So, and these guys have a lot of experience. They're both exciting fighters. They're both big 145-pound fighters. So it's a hell of a match.
And we must mention that is for the 145 belt. The champion, or previous champion, Jonathan Chutan, has vacated the 145 belt. So this title now is for the official, featherweight title, right? And
yes.
Jonathan is moving down to a different division. He's moving down to the 135 division. So we will have a Belizean champion. That's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Jonathan already vacated the 145-pound belt, so this is for the official 145-pound title. Thank you very much for reminding me of that. Yes.
So, besides the main event, too, what are some of the undercard fights?
Yes, well, actually, we have a couple of fights. For example, the second fight on the card is two 16-year-olds. We have Kaylin Smith from Prevail Combat Club against Jalen Perez from War Orange Rock. So those are two young kids who are very naturally born, talented, athletic young men. Both of them have high-level skills, are ready for their ages. So that fight, even though they're only 16 years old, is going to be a high-level 16-year-old fight. And then we also have the Sunshine Jared Ramos from Prevail, who is one of the young guys who has already competed in MMA and Pro FC before. So he has experience. He's only 18 years of age, but a lot of experience, And then you have Thomas, who has been training for about 3 years, who is fighting Jared in this fight. And both of them have high-level striking, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. So you're going to see 18-year-olds who are definitely going to demonstrate high-level fighting, exciting fighting. Both guys want to win, so they're going to go all out for the win. So the crowd's going to get their fair share of fights. So everybody wins. The fans win in this case, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be good. And I especially am excited by hearing that we have such young prospects in Belize. Maybe hopefully one day they can fight in ONE or Bellator or maybe even the UFC.
Actually, that's an excellent point. The reason why we are doing the Pro FC is because that's what we want our future to go. To have fighters represent Belize in the big leagues like Bellator, UFC, ONE championship. That's the goal for us as promoters, and even as coaches. We want to see the young fighters eventually represent Belize, being locally born here and also training locally in Belize, right? Because that's the goal. That's the main goal of everything we're doing.
That sounds good that you're fostering that young talent from such an early age.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the goal of the Belizean Amateur Series, right? We're looking for new and upcoming fighters. We're looking to get new fighters because, of course, we have Belize is a small country, right? But we have a lot of talent, and we have now the MMA scene is changing. We have, James in Orange Walk, we have James in San Pedro, in Placencia, in Belize City, of course. San Ignacio is coming on board soon. Belmopan, we have James with one card in Belmopan. So it's the scene is growing, and we need events like this to help push the fighters and give them a stage, right, for their art, so to speak.
So Silvino, this is MMA, mixed martial arts. So tell me, how much of each type of martial arts can we expect? Can we expect some jiu-jitsu, some good, nice, clean, crisp boxing, some wrestling? What all can we expect from the fights this weekend?
For example, like some of the fighters that I know personally, like for example, Shahil Solanke, you can expect high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level striking. He is talented in both divisions. And I think Mighty Mo is somebody that's more a striker, right, Israel, if I'm right? So you expect good striking from both of them, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So kickboxing pretty much. Then you also have like James Mejia, who is a good grappler. He has a good judo background and also has very good striking along to go with the striking from Travis Pollard, who also prefers to stand up. So you're going to see striking in example in that fight. And then, for example, in the fight for Jalen and Kalen, I know Jalen he loves more the wrestling aspect of it. I'm not sure about Kalen, but Israel can comment on that. But I can tell you that Jalen loves the wrestling part of the martial arts, taking down people and ground and pound,
Yeah, Kalen, for example, Ori is one of the outstanding guys that we want to push because he's in the 135 division. He's very young, like we said, and that guy is naturally talented. He's been training since he's been 11 or 12 years old. So you can imagine now he's 15, going on to 16. The level that these guys pick up when they're young, talented. It's different than when you pick up jiu-jitsu at 33 years old, for example, like me, right? So, I mean, it's still possible, but these guys have a fresher background to base themselves on. I'm really excited to see that fight. That's one of the fights that I'm really excited to see. Two young guys with martial art background, and they're well-rounded. So we're hoping to see a good fight.
All right, sounds good. Speaking of being well-rounded, if we may pivot a little bit now to the UFC 270, that main event highlighted the well-rounded game of Francis Ngannou. Everybody thought, hey, he's just a power puncher. But last night he demonstrated he has some good grappling skills. What did you think of it, Silvino?
Yeah, I was surprised to see Francis turn into a wrestler and grappler last night, but it was good. It shows that he has evolutionized the self-game in the mixed martial arts. So he's a full MMA fighter now, not really just a one-hit punch power guy, So it was very nice to see that. And actually, he was smart to use that game plan against Cyril Gane because Cyril Gane's stand-up is pretty good. He has good measure of distance, good footwork. So Francis surprised him with the grappling. Even though Cyril Gane said afterwards that he knew Francis was going to take him down, I think he still got surprised when Francis clinched and took him down.
No, I was just gonna say I think that yes, it was surprising, but I think that Francis Ngannou knew that was his game plan coming in. Yes, I know he said he had an injury, and that's why he was wearing the knee braces. But the knee braces is something that can help you with wrestling, right? I think he knew that while he was going, his game plan was going to involve a lot of wrestling, And then the first couple of rounds were. Cyril Gane was winning those rounds, right? I actually had the first round, like I mentioned to you, and I had the first round to Ngannou, but Cyril Gane was controlling the pace and the stand-up. But then Francis realized that he needed to change that with that big power slam that came in, that iconic. that will be one of the moments or the highlights, right?
Right, indeed. Ngannou mentioned that he had torn ligaments in his right knee, namely his MCL and his ACL. The doctor who cleared him on the Tuesday before the fight said he wasn't too sure of clearing him to fight because he told him that if he got like maybe a kick on that knee, it would have been irreversible damage. So Ngannou took a great risk there fighting.
That's right. He did say that if he got kicked on that knee, it would be reversible, and that's the reason why he didn't switch stances. He kept just on one stance, their natural stance. So he said he wanted to do unorthodox stance, but he couldn't because of his afraid to get damage on that knee. But it was a good fight overall. Just a not really exciting fight like some people like the one punch knockout fight, but it's a good high level skill fight. I enjoyed the fight. 5-round war, you could see. Yeah, but so it was very good.
Speaking of a 5-round war, the co-main event, Figueiredo versus Moreno. Some people are calling for a fourth fight. Personally, I think I don't want to have the top of the division, stay stagnant. These three guys have fought 3 times in a row for the title. I think somebody should get a shot. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm part Mexican, and in part Mexican in me says, let's run it again in UFC Mexico, and I will jump on a plane. I will be in Mexico City to cheer for Brandon Moreno. So on my end, I would want to see that fight again, just because I think the first one was a draw, the second one Moreno won, and the third one Figueiredo won last night. So let's put an end to this, to this series, if we want to call it that, because we can't call it a trilogy at this point. It's a series, right? So let's put an end to the series in UFC Mexico and let's see what happens. What do you think, Silvino?
I totally agree with you, because the first fight was a draw. The second fight was Brandon clearly won. This one, actually, I think Figueiredo won by a slight margin. I'm not mad with the decision, but it was very close. So, I mean, they have to do it one more time. So, seal the deal. Yeah.
Personally, I don't want to see it, at least anyways, not right away. If we look at the fact of the matter for the first fight, it's officially a draw, but that was only because of the point deduction. So technically, Figueiredo won 3 out of the 5 rounds. So in my eyes, Figueiredo kind of won that one, unofficially.
So you're saying Figueiredo is winning the series or has won the series?
Unofficially, yes. But officially, it's 1-1-1.
Right. Nevertheless, it was a good fight. It got the fight of the night bonus. But I actually think, which I wanted to highlight to you guys, I actually think the fight of the night was Victor Henry fighting the Brazilian guy. What's his name again? It's on
Barcelos.
Michel Pereira.
Barcelos.
Oh, Ronnie.
No, Ronnie Barcelos. I thought that was the fight of the night because it displayed a lot of high-level skills, man. These guys were putting on a show, right? I don't know if you guys remember, these guys were doing combinations and not stopping, not a simple 1-2 combination. They were doing 1, 2, 3, 4 combinations. I think at the end of the night, Victor Henry won the fight because of the pace that he was pushing, right? He was pushing an incredible pace, and Ronnie Barcelos was not comfortable with the pace, and that's where he fell behind,
Yeah, and actually Barcelos was a 600 and minus favorite to that fight. So if people who put money on Henry won a lot of money last night. So, and Henry had showed a lot of heart, good skills, was in his face all night, just banging out. Yeah.
Fight of the night. I don't know what you think.
I could see that. I could see also the co-main event. Both of them were really good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were both good fights, but yeah. I mean, and the guys got the bonus money, right, for that kind of war, so that's good, right?
For me, the comeback fight of the night was the second fight of the night. It was Juarez versus Demopoulos. Juarez clocked Demopoulos with a clean right hand, put her down on the ground, but she survived and came back with that armbar submission. That was fantastic.
All right. She got a performance bonus for that performance, which I thought was a good performance. Obviously, she used her jiu-jitsu to come back, and she won the night by jumping into Joe Rogan's lap also, right? So she won in many ways.
Yes, that was our first fighter to have Joe Rogan hold them up, right, during their interview at the end, right? So, and also a little other tidbit of information. She used to be an exotic dancer until recently, until this last camp. That's when she quit that and focused full-time on being an MMA fighter. And I think it definitely paid off. Because if she wasn't in tip-top full shape, focusing on being, 100% in the fight, I think that punch would have knocked out anybody else. But because she was in tip-top shape, survived.
That's right. Yeah, she showed definitely excellent conditioning to recover so quick, definitely. And she also is a Pan Am champion BJJ, so she showed her jiu-jitsu skills with that armbar win.
Yep. And the other performance of the night, guys, Michael Morales defeated Trevin Giles, and I wanted to ask you, Silvino, because Trevin Giles is from the War Training Center, Orin, and Silvino is affiliated with War Training Center. So there's a connection there, right? So yeah, Giles started well. I mean, in the first 35 seconds, he knocked down Michael Morales, but then as the fight evolved, Michael Morales, I think he knocked him down twice, right? And
Yes.
the ref kind of called the fight a little bit early. Some are saying, I don't know how you guys saw it, but in the end, Michael Morales won by TKO.
I don't think it was an early stoppage. I think it was good. It was right on time.
It was a fair stoppage, but Trevin, I think, strayed away from his game plan, which was not to brawl with anyone, and he ended up brawling and he paid the price. And unfortunately, it hurts. Like, to me, it hurts personally because I'm War Belize, they're War Texas, we're the same pretty much family gym, you could say. And Jeremy, their coaches, is my coach. So I train with those guys in Houston, so I know them personally. So when you see one of your friends getting knocked out or getting hurt, it hurts a little bit, which Israel knows how that feels being a coach himself. So.
Yep, for sure, yeah. But he'll recover. Trevin will recover. He was making his 170 debut, right? So he was coming down from weight class, and he looked good. To be honest, he looked in shape. I mean, I think one of the commentators said he doesn't look like Trevin Giles. He looks like Trevin Giles' son, because he was in really good shape, right? He looked good and he showed that the power translates. So let's hope that he comes back, and he can put on another winning performance.
Yeah, that's something for real, because Trevin, when he started his UFC career, he started at 205, actually. His first fight was at 205. Now he's fighting all the way to 170, so he has definitely cut a lot of weight over the years. But he looks good in 170. He looks in shape. He looks ripped,
Yep.
That reminds me of the Killer Gorilla. You know how the Killer Gorilla, he started at heavyweight, then went to 205, then at 185? Yeah, that seems to be the trend recently, Fighters like Jose Aldo going down in weight, Frankie Edgar also.
Now, I was going to ask you, what did you think about, the Mexican fighters? Because there were 4 Mexican fighters overall fighting on that card. We had a girl, Juarez. We had a guy, what was his name? He fought Matt Frevola. He lost against Matt Frevola. Yeah, which is a very exciting one-round match, if you want to call it that. But it was very exciting and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Valdez. Genaro Valdez. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I think, Frevola really, maintained his nickname, the steamroller, because to me, it was more kind of one-sided. He just kind of steamrolled that guy. Multiple knockdowns. In my opinion, the ref could have maybe start that one a little bit sooner.
Right, 4 knockdowns. Yeah. You're right. I agree with you. I think he gave Genaro Valdez a lot of room to recover because, he's known as that kind of guy, that brawler, right, Silvino, and that he can recover and come back and, win. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to win last night, and that was his formal UFC debut. But, he came from the Contender Series, but I think he will be back.
Yeah, unfortunately, he faced someone with a lot of power against Frevola. The power was clearly a big difference. Frevola hit hard. So that was a big difference in the fight.
Right. Yep. And one more fight that I want to talk about, which was Michel Pereira, which Silvino was talking about earlier. It was Michel Pereira, right? That was a very good fight. He's a showman, but in the first round, he was put on the back foot, right? The guy was controlling the striking and putting effective pressure on him. But he came back in the second round with some very heavy-handed strikes and was able to eke out that decision on the third round because, it was a close decision, I think. It was 1-1, and then he won the third very closely. But he's an exciting fighter. People look forward to seeing him, and, when he does all his crazy antics, right?
He's one of my favorite fighters to watch because no matter what happens, it's not going to be a boring fight. There's going to be Superman punches off the octagon cage. There's going to be backflips before and after the fight and during. You can't go wrong with this guy, for entertainment value.
Yeah, I think the UFC realizes he's a big star already because they put him up like third fight the last, so he's already moving up during the big main card. And I know when he's fighting, my kids usually only watch Tug Rose or Conor McGregor, the big stars. But when he fights, you see them there watching fights. So my kids are big fans of him. So he's drawing a lot of attention from the casual fans per se. Yeah.
The last fight I want to talk about is Stamen versus Nurmagomedov. No relation to Khabib, but that was a sweet submission. Stamen offered his neck and he snatched it up instantly. That was so tight. He tapped so quick.
Yep. And you could see where it was tight, right? Because you could see that he, even, as he was going down, Cody Stamen was already tapping, right?
That's just like a lifetime training of Sambo, which is almost equivalent to Jiu-Jitsu. The same kind of grappling. It's just like when one of those guys hold you, it's scary, So they've been training from kids, so it's a different level of grip.
That's true. So that's UFC 270 for you. I mean, I thought it was a good card. We had a lot of finishes, Oren, as you had pointed out to me last night. Just a couple decisions, but it was a good pay-per-view event to start off the year. The main event certainly surprised people. The co-main event was a banger. So I don't know what you guys think, but UFC 270 definitely delivered for me.
Yeah, for me too. There were 5 finishes, right? Let me see. There were 3 TKOs and 2 submissions, and the other 6 were decisions. But the last 2 were really good fights. Even more, all the good fights that went to the decision. So overall, it was a very good event. About half and half submissions, decisions, and TKOs. So couldn't go wrong with that.
Yep, Silvino, your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed the night as usual, and the fights were all of them pretty much delivered to me. Especially the co-main event is the one I was looking forward the most, and it definitely delivered. It got me screaming up, jumping up, excited. And the main event as well, I was looking. I thought it was gonna go 5 rounds, and I ended up predicting it right because I knew that Cyril is hard to get knocked out because he moves so much. He has good control of distance, so I figured it was gonna be a 5-round kind of good fight.
Yeah, I also had Ngannou winning. I didn't know he was gonna wrestle, but I had him winning, and I thought that he would be able to pull it off somehow. So that's what happened. That's UFC 270. Silvino, I just want to thank you for coming on board and sharing your thoughts. I know you're a long time MMA and UFC fan, right? From the beginning events. So we appreciate you coming on. And maybe you can give us one final thought or some final words about Pro FC 4, which is happening next week, and urge fans to come out and see this because it's definitely going to be a good card and a good fight, right? Good show.
Yeah, definitely. I want to encourage all the MMA, UFC fans. If you like UFC, you're going to love Pro FC because it's local flavor, Belizean flavor. You're going to be up close in the multi-purpose building watching live MMA exciting fights. Remember, we have 5 local fighters from Orange Rock fighting. So Orange Rock people come support our local guys. It's going to be exciting. We have from Belize City, we have San Pedro, we have from Belmopan. So we have from everywhere and from Placencia as well. So come out and support and show us that, you're going to scream up. You're going to be enjoying everything. I promise you're going to have a fun night of fights. Also, I want to let the people know that we're going to have a local guy from Orange Rock. His name is Yeri Kid. He's going to be performing a couple songs also in between the fights. So you have a little semi-concert, as you can see, for all included for $25 general, $50 VIP. And before I sign off, I just want to thank my sponsors who make the event happen. Cuello's Distillery, Caribbean Rums, also the Orange Rock Tong Kongso, Mayor Ladrick Shepherd. I want to also thank Belize Live News. I also want to thank also AAA Imports, Sarah Cabañas Wholesale, Zeta Water, the official water of the Pro FC. We also want to thank Preppy Pooch, the National Sport Council of Belize, and last but not least, we want to thank Landis and Sons and Rick's Black Sand Tiles Factory. So these people make it happen. Without them, we can't have an event. So
Yep, for sure.
Thank
We
you.
have to thank the sponsors and make sure we let them know we appreciate them and their support for MMA, which is, as I always say, MMA is just not fighting, but it's a sport. It's a sport that's helping cultivate the young people in our country. Arin, did you have any final questions for Silvino before he leaves us?
Um, when are we going to have another one after this?
Well,
That's
if
that's a
everything
good
goes
question,
well, this
right?
event, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. Everything goes well, we're gonna probably sit down and hopefully have something in April, but then with outside fighters this time, as we usually have them with Mexicans, Guatemalans, U.S. fighters. So it's gonna be international event, a bigger event. So that's the plan. Let's see what happens on Saturday. Once we get the support, we get motivated to continue, but we need the support from the fans.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Arin, your final thoughts?
Sounds good. Well, UFC 270 is all done and dusted. Time to move on to the next one. And the next one is live right here in Belize. I'm going to be there. If you're not going to be there, you can check it out on social media. But there's nothing like being live and in person to experience an MMA event. So hope to see you there.
Right, that's for sure. And hoping after the event that we can get some of the fighters, right, interview them and talk to them and have them explain about their training camps and their fights and everything that goes into being an MMA fighter here in Belize. All right,
Definitely.
guys. With that, I want to thank you again, Silvino, and I want to thank you again, Oren, for being my co-host and putting this together. We appreciate you guys coming on board. And if you don't follow us on social media, YouTube. Don't Blink Jiu-Jitsu, also Pro FC's YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. So you can always find us and share, like, and give us a thumbs up. All right. So thanks, guys. And I'm signing off. This has been Don't Blink Jiu-Jitsu Podcast.